if he doesn't think the guys around him are winning players or have the winning attitude required to take on the Warriors, because obviously that's essentially what we're
Right.
talking about here, essentially in that conference, then why does he want to be maxed out there?
Again, it's mixed messages. It's
Okay.
a confusing situation. We don't really know. How much does money talk in a situation like this? When you're staring at a paycheck for $30 or $40 million more than any team can offer you, how much does that really talk, and how much are you able to tolerate? Having Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns on your team, if it means signing for $30 to $40 extra million. It's a lot of money, and I don't know that there's an easy answer to that question. He says it's not about the money, but from what I've gleaned, that it is a little bit about the money.
I think we're just beginning to get to the confusing part too, Chris Hine, as well. I should throw out too that Rachel, in her interview with Jimmy Butler, did say at one point, recounting the end of last season, how he came back and talked about losing in the first-round series against the #1 seed Houston. He interrupted her and said, "That's a really good team too, by the way," is what he said.
I think he's sending a not so subtle signal out there.
I mean, why not go there too? So a couple things here now. Has the owner ordered him traded or not? And if he did, tell Board of Governors members that he's going to get out of there. Why hasn't he been traded?
Glenn Taylor has demanded, or not demanded, but has said that he wants Butler. He has told Thibodeau and Layden he wants Butler traded. So that is the working mandate for this organization right now. Now, he has left it up to Thibodeau and Layden to do that. Taylor is not really doing the day-to-day negotiating of a deal. So the guiding mantra is that Taylor wants Butler dealt. But Thibodeau and Layden are the ones handling those negotiations. And so trades involving superstars can sometimes take a while. Kyrie Irving took weeks to get dealt. Look what happened with Kawhi this offseason. So Taylor wants him dealt, but it's taking time because I think in part Thibodeau might hope Butler comes back. But secondly, these trades take a while, and they have to create leverage in a market that is not a very favorable market for them right now. So I think you're seeing that kind of conflict come to a front here. Yes, the owner wants him gone, but it's taking time to get a deal that they want.
Well, to use the phrase from Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, Chris, I don't usually quote that, but time is a luxury they do not have, to be honest with you here. And the season's right around the corner, and Jimmy Butler is making things uncomfortable, to say the least. And my question is how does Karl-Anthony Towns kick that ball out? That, to me, out of everything, made me sit there and think the Timberwolves truly have a problem, even if Butler goes. How does Karl-Anthony Towns not take that ball and just throw it at him?
I don't know. And I think that is what Butler is saying. It's part of why he doesn't think he can coexist with these guys, because they just don't have the same fire, the same drive that he does, and that has shown up in practice before. I heard that some people within the Wolves organization yesterday just kind of viewed what happened as another day in the life of having Jimmy Butler on your team, that it wasn't really all that out of the ordinary, if you can believe that. It seems crazy to us on the outside, but there were some within the organization that were like, well, it's just Jimmy being Jimmy in a sense.
Well, I don't know if this is a proper analogy, Chris. I mean, definitely not in terms of personality, although I've never met Jimmy Butler. One of the reasons why the Cowboys told Des Bryant, we're done here, is because a lot of members of the coaching staff thought that Dak did not need him chirping in his ear anymore. He needed to have a more confident group around him to build that up. Is Jimmy Butler stunting Karl-Anthony Towns' growth just by being there, do you think?
He could, absolutely. And they have so much money tied up now in Towns and Wiggins. I think about $340 million between those two guys, that you don't need anybody around stunting their growth. Now, what I think might be happening is, I think in some ways Thibodeau might look at this as a positive in some ways, that having Butler around, having somebody to really get at these guys might inspire them to greater heights. Now, you could debate the merits of that, but I think that that's definitely in play here. But I don't know that that's necessarily the best thing for the long-term health of the franchise.
What's happening now? What's the next step? Crystal ball it, essentially.
The next step is I'm going to hop in a car and drive to Milwaukee for their preseason game on Friday night, and we're going to see what happens in Milwaukee tomorrow. I think, the next 24 hours could be interesting. We'll see if canceling practice precipitates a move of some kind, if they're trying to buy time to get a deal done. I think that could be in the cards, but I'm not 100% certain of that. We'll see. The next 24 hours, the next week is going to be fascinating.
Lit, as the kids say. Any chance Butler plays Friday night, you think?
I think there's a chance. He said he would. He said in the ESPN interview that he would practice on Thursday, so I think there's a chance that he could play on Friday.
Who do they play against?
Milwaukee.
Okay, so Milwaukee. I see what you're saying. Okay, so any chance that Butler inserts himself into the bench of the Milwaukee Bucks during that game, Chris?
With the way this thing has gone the last 2 weeks, I don't rule anything out at this point.
Unbelievable. The whole thing's unbelievable. By the way, I really always appreciate quality journalism and quality writing. You should check out Chris's article on StarTribune.com. The lead paragraph, Jimmy Butler sure knows how to make an entrance, even if he desperately wants to make an exit. Well done, Chris Hine.
Thank you, Rich.
I like that. Thanks for calling. You appreciate it. I appreciate you calling.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.